We have not discussed anything to do with the candidature of the Right Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. It was not part of the government agenda here today. Here we are discussing government agenda. It was not part of it. But maybe just for clarity, let me say this. Whenever any Kenyan applies for a job or is nominated for a job anywhere in the world, that Kenyan is viewed as a Kenyan. The former Prime Minister Raila Odinga in his rightful place as a Kenyan. If he has offered himself for an international job, the people of Kenya are obligated to support Raila Odinga as a Kenyan. He's not going to the AU as leader of ODM or a member of ODM. He's going to AU, or he has put his bid to be nominated for a position in AU as a Kenyan. And we shall treat the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga as a Kenyan and support his bid as a Kenyan.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, ready? Well, as you have all witnessed, we had our first joint cabinet and the parliamentary group meeting, a retreat, which was beginning this morning. We are finished with the PG, and we will leave members of the cabinet and principal secretaries to continue with their retreats. This is the first joint one. Last year we had one, but with chairs of committees present. This time we decided to invite the entire membership of Kenya Kwanza and other parties that are working with us, both in the National Assembly and the Senate, basically to lay out our strategies for work in this new year. You know, this is the third session and the second year of this parliament. And as members of parliament, we need to align the legislative agenda with the agenda of the government that is pushed through cabinet. And basically, that was the whole essence of this meeting. And we have had a very fruitful engagement, being able to go through government programs that are to be rolled out in the course of the year, and taking a stock of what we have done over the last year, 1 year plus, and of course laying out strategies on how we'll implement many of the government programs that are ahead of us. Part of what we promised the people of Kenya, as was indicated by the President when he opened the session this morning, we all campaign together as a unit, as a team, and that is why we come together as a team to agree on how we proceed in the course of the year. We have laid out our legislative agenda, the urgent business that is before us in the House, in both houses, both National Assembly and Senate, and also other business that will be coming from Cabinet as a process.
Majority, the disbursement of CDF was one of the big issues you were handling.
Well, I spoke to it in the morning as I gave my opening remarks, because we have had challenges, and it's good for all of us to have an understanding amongst ourselves that there are challenges that we must be able to deal with collectively as a team. And whether you are in the executive or in the legislature, all our opportunities are ours. All our challenges as a government are ours as a government. And we have implored on all our members to bear with the executive when there are challenges here and there, but there is also the very firm commitment from the National Treasury that NGCDF will be disbursed at the rate of 10 billion shillings every year. It's indeed imperative to state that for the first time last year, government was able to disburse 100% of NGCDF. Beginning from the end of February this year, we have started much earlier. In the month of January, we were able to disburse 10 billion shillings. By the end of this month, another 10 billion shillings will be disbursed, and therefore that will continue until the entire 53 billion shillings owed to NGCDF and GAF is disbursed. And the same also for our county governments, our shareable revenue for county governments, as was also said, they will also be getting their shareable revenue as at when it falls due.
There's 2,500 jobs asked for grant, but only 500 have applied. And when the President said that, there seems to be a disconnect between the MPs, the legislature, and the cabinet. Do you think there's something like that? Because no one has made any effort to look for their constituencies and try to get them this one. You think there's a disconnect between the legislature and the cabinet?
I have seen what you have reported in many of your forums on social media. But it's important to state that, yes, government did advertise for 2,500 jobs, nursing jobs, going to Saudi. There was, of course, that concern that members of parliament were not able to relay the same to their constituents in time. And basically, that's what the president was challenging members of parliament, that we have a huge responsibility as leaders to also be part of conveyors of information back to our people, that we do not expect that our people in the villages will have access to newspapers, will have access to social media where these advertisements are, that we take a more proactive role in being able to communicate what is good and what is beneficial to the people back in our villages and in our constituencies. I think members of parliament have taken that very positively. When, after you left, when the cabinet secretary, Florence Bore, came up to speak, she did state the challenges that were there with those job applications. Indeed, about 1,100 Kenyans applied, only 500 qualified, and therefore the ministry will also be more proactive, not only in communicating, but also being able to engage with members of parliament to know the right skill set for such opportunities. And not just in Saudi, there are opportunities coming up, as has been reported in the meeting. The bilateral agreement between our country and the Republic of Germany is going to be concluded in the next few weeks, and there will be many more opportunities, close to 250,000 job opportunities for Kenyans.
Swali langu la mwisho
Well, we agreed that on the important legislations for delivery of government agenda, that in either houses we expedite. For example, you do know that housing is an important program which we made as a promise to the people of Kenya. We had challenges in the courts. There are various things that they ask us to align to the Constitution. That bill is present before the National Assembly. And the assurance to the people of Kenya that the National Assembly has given is that by the end of this week, they will have completed the consideration of that particular bill. Once we receive it in the Senate, as soon as we receive it, probably if they're able to send it by Thursday, then on Friday it will commence its life in the Senate. And we should also be able to conclude on it expeditiously, so that perhaps by the end of the month, God willing, we have a new housing bill, affordable housing bill, that encompasses or takes into consideration all the issues that were raised in the courts of the Republic of Kenya. Then second and most importantly thing is a greater cooperation has to be established between the executive and us in the legislature. There are various areas of disconnect, such as the issue that has just been mentioned, and many other government programs that members of the legislature felt they need to be better appraised, so that as they speak to their constituents, they can help them appreciate and participate in those activities. We have been tasked as the leadership of the House to come with a working group that will help us build better synergy between us and the executive, because it is true that there are various gaps that have been noted, and we need to close in so that we can deliver to the people of Kenya as one government. That's the whole theme of why we came here to Naivasha today. And so we go back to Parliament a happy lot. We will do better in the areas that we have been asked, because the executive as well had certain requests to us as a legislature. There are certain matters that we have been asked to perhaps clean up and ensure that we don't interfere too much with the operations of the executive through certain summons that could easily have been avoided by use of other channels to get the information, because there are times which there are various reasons that members of cabinet come to Parliament. Some of the issues that members raise can better be addressed outside the precincts of Parliament, and those are issues that we'll react to and perhaps build better synergy. Thank you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Asante.